The University of South Africa will host the second State Capture Seminar next week. The forum will focus on what can be done to make African countries resilient and resistant to this form of exploitation. Political activist and scholar Dr Thozamile Botha will once again deliver the keynote address. He now joins me for more on the second State Capture Seminar. Dr. Botha, thank you so much for your time this evening. Now, do we as a country fully understand what state capture is and its true impact on a country such as ours? And maybe just give us your definition of state capture.
Thank you very much. And the state capture concept is fairly new, but it's only the concept that is new. The actual practice of corruption or systemic corruption at state level is not new. In fact, state capture cannot be defined within the boundaries of a specific country or territory. It is in fact, in its character, it is imperialistic and has all the features of a colonial state, because state capture aims at extorting the resources of a particular country and divert those resources to individuals and groups in society that have no interest of the public in general. They divert these resources for their own personal gains. Therefore, state capture, in fact, is a systemic corruption that creates a parallel structure parallel to that of the constitutional structure of any country. So that's really... Now, coming back to whether South Africans understand the implications and the impact of state capture to our society, I don't think so. In fact, they don't, because I have been asked a couple of times by people whom I would expect to be more knowledgeable, asking the question, is there really a state capture, or the concept of state capture is just a nice narrative? The reality is that the reason why people don't understand is also because, even a person like former President Zuma indicated at the time that there can't be a state capture if not all the organs of the state are captured. In other words, the three organs of state, namely the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary, are still operating. The question is, in fact, the best way to understand state capture is to compare it with the human body. The human body has certain organs without which the body would not survive. If you take blood is manufactured in the bone marrow. It gets pumped to the liver for purification. From the liver it goes to the heart, and the heart circulates it to the entire body. If the blood contracted a virus at that manufacturing point, or in the liver, and that is not detected and purified, the reality is that that virus, which in this case I would compare it to the corrupt agents operating within the state, would infect the other organs of state, and therefore the whole state systematically get destroyed. Because the state, if the heart does not pump, if Treasury, for example, can't collect funds from the economy, and if the economy is not strong enough to generate enough revenue to give to Treasury to distribute to the different institutions of the different organs of state, then you have a problem. Because the public, all social services that are supposed to be delivered to the people, will fail. Like we have a problem now with electricity. Like we have a problem now with water in many townships in our communities. Like we have sewer running down the streets. These are the effects of a failed organ of state or failed organs of state that are not performing the functions for which the Constitution has directed. And therefore, that is the meaning, in my view, of state capture, because the Constitution says the state, the executive, has got a responsibility to deliver services, and those services can only be delivered if there's sufficient revenue raised from the economy. If the economy is not growing and Treasury is not able to receive sufficient funds to distribute in the state organs, then you have a problem. But the last one, let me say, is that the legislature itself has a role to play, not just to make the laws, but to actually commit and subscribe and uphold the principles for which they took an oath from the Constitution. In other words, once a political party is elected to govern, that political party no longer represents only the interests of its members as a party. It is given the bigger authority of representing the entire population, even those who voted against it. And in this case, there is a lot of confusion of the state, within the members of parliament, who tend to actually renege on their oath of office, where they are supposed to have taken an oath of office to say we represent and will stand by the principle of the Constitution, not of the political party.
Most certainly.
You
Doctor,
can't.
Unfortunately, we have run out of time, and I think, this is a very interesting and pertinent conversation that we should be having around state capture. Your lecture will be happening later this month. We certainly do hope to meet up with you later again to further discuss how it is as a society we can come together in finding the solutions to state capture. Thank you so much for your time this evening, Doctor. That was political activist and scholar Dr. Thozamile Botha, who will be giving the keynote address at the Unisa lecture on state capture.